Welcome to Solo Travel TV. This is Yogita Ridgley. I am the CEO and the founder of Traveling with Me, Myself, and I. Today I have a beautiful lady who is very well traveled all around the world, and she's going to share her story with us. Welcome, Jo. How
Thank
are
you,
you?
Yogita. It's good. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're very welcome. Now, Jo, let's start with you telling us a little bit about yourself.
I'm in my late 60s. I'm retired. My real solo adventures began about 4 years ago, and I've just gone on from there. I do have family. And I have a home base because I do a fair bit of travelling around Australia, but I have a home base to come back to. My family looks after that for me. But yeah, I can travel with friends or I can travel alone. It's just depends on where we're going and what we're doing.
That sounds amazing. Now, I love how you say you're retired, but every time I try to contact you, you're never home.
That's because I'm off travelling.
That's amazing retirement, isn't it? Now, Jo, I would like to ask you,
yes.
what got you started on your solo travel adventure? How did you start?
I think mainly because about 4 years ago, my marriage ended and I'm suddenly on my own. And I thought, well, I'm not going to let this stop me living. I'm going to get out and explore. And then met up with you when you started the meetup group, Me, Myself and I. So that was really good to be one of the foundation members of that and got to know a few people. And then I got my little camper van that I go travelling in. And it's possible. I think my little camper van shows that it's really easy to travel in Australia because it's a 1980 Toyota Light Ace. So it's nearly as old as me.
Fun camper van, doesn't it?
It's old, but it has the basics in it. It has the bed. I even have the fridge in it. I've got solar power, storage. Very easy. And my mechanic loves it because it, as he says, it's nuts and bolts. With all the modern stuff in it. It's steady. I've had a few issues when I've been travelling with it, but overall, it's great. I can just hop in it and go wherever I want.
It sounds like fun. So what was the first place you went? The very first adventure you took on?
First place on that one, I went out to Gundawindi out west.
Excellent.
That was really good. It was a free camping. I did stay in a caravan park at Gundawindi more from a safety point of view, but I do free camping. I've learnt when you travel to check the area you're camping in. They have free campsites along the way, but I always check to see if anyone else is there, what the site looks like, how far it is to the next site, just from being a safe perspective.
And that is very important, isn't it? It's super important to be well planned in terms of your safety, what's where, what's available, and do the research. I think that's really the key to solo traveling. So
definitely when you're traveling, especially as an older female traveling solo, safety and comfort. I don't need to have a shower every day, because there's no room for a shower in my little van. But it's just being safety, and if I don't feel comfortable, I move on.
Yes, and that literally when you tune into your gut feeling, your intuition, and this is time to move on, you tend to take that advice instead of thinking or out talking yourself into staying.
Yeah, and with the van, I have some basics, like I have a little jump starter kit if there's a flat battery. I'm in the RACQ top level when I'm travelling distances. My family, I always check in with family to let them know just where I am.
That's extremely important.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So it's just about being sensible when you travel. Yeah. And even though older female, people come and offer help. I went to the Tara camel races and cultural festival a couple of years ago. That was one of the most amazing experiences. I'd camped just outside of Dalby for a couple of nights and met some people there who were also going to the to Tara, and I met up with them again at the festival. There were over 2,000 caravans parked in the site, but it was a great time. Met some wonderful people, all different experiences, and it's amazing. People sort of keep an eye out for that solo woman. They're more than willing to help. And as my daughter keeps saying, Mum, if you can't do anything, just stand there and look helpless. And if all else fails, cry. Someone will come and help you. But it is, people are very, very generous with their, with their help and advice. You always meet people that aren't interested, don't want to do anything, but you don't worry about them. You want to meet the people who are helpful.
That's correct.
Who do want to talk.
Yeah. And that's one of the best parts of solo traveling, is that you do meet a lot of amazing people while you are on the road. And sometimes you make friends for life because you have connected so well. And
some people just leave a long memory with you. You just, that memory stays.
Yes.
Even though you might never see them again or hear from them again.
Yes.
The memory is there.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is one thing that you love most about solo traveling?
You set your own agenda.
Yes.
You don't have to wait on what somebody else is doing. There's no friction with anyone because there's no one there to have friction with.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and you've just got to be willing to be game to step out and do.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone,
Yeah, but and the opportunity to meet people and talk with people, even though, because if you're with someone else, you're not always, you don't always take it. You don't always take the opportunity to talk with other people.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, very true. Now, I know we all have things that we love about solo traveling, but there's always things that you don't like so much about solo traveling. What would one of them be for you?
Not having someone to share an experience with.
Okay.
Because some experiences are really incredible, deep, meaningful, that you'd really like to share.
Yes.
But you don't always have that. And it's very difficult to try and explain that to someone after the event.
Yeah.
That's
storytelling after the event has happened. Yes.
And then there's always the added cost if you're traveling solo.
Yeah.
But there's ways around that. Yeah.
Now, one of the favorite things that you've done, or the favorite experiences you've had as a solo traveler, what would that be?
Going overseas, it was when I went to Lima, and I was going up to the intention was to hike the Inca Trail. I was joining a group in Cusco, but before that I went on a tour, to just a day trip out to the Rainbow Mountain, and wasn't feeling particularly well at the end of it, and we were all taken to a restaurant type of thing for a meal, and I was the only non-Spanish speaker in the group.
A
couple of people spoke broken English,
right,
and it came out that I was going back to Lima and I was going to stay in Miraflores, and one of the Spanish speakers goes rattling off in Spanish to the one who's speaking in broken English. And turns out I couldn't quite work out whether this Spanish woman came from Miraflores or somebody came from Miraflores district. Anyway, next thing I know, she's written some information on this piece of paper, which I was struggling to work out what it was. But I finally realised it was a street address in Miraflores, and it turned out to be a restaurant name. So when you go back to Miraflores, you find this.
Yeah.
This is the broken English one. So no idea who this woman is. So when I get back to Miraflores, I go exploring, find the street, and finally find this little restaurant.
Right.
And so I go into it and I hold up this piece of paper with this information on, and I just hold it out, and the woman looks at it and she goes, me, gives me a big, I said, I'm not sure who, I think she was the woman I met on the trip. I think it was her mother. But,
okay.
oh no, I had to come in. What you eat? And I'm thinking, looked at the menu, all in Spanish. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I just looked at chicken. And so, but you said, so out comes a dish with potato and egg. I thought, oh my goodness, they've served that pre-chicken. And then out comes another meal and a drink, and just so excited. And I thought, I've never met this woman in my life. I can't speak the language, but it was just smiles, essential to smile. Just that, and be interested in other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes all trips wonderful.
Yeah. It literally, your story just gave me goosebumps, because, you know, it's the most favorite thing of mine is meeting people who go out of their way to give you the local authentic experience. And like, I was just watching you talk about your experience, and your face just grew, your voice was just like so much passion in there. And this is like what you said before, the passion and everything that you learn from solo traveling and just getting out of your comfort zone is an experience really worth going for. And
definitely.
If you hadn't stepped up and said, I'm not going to just sit here, do nothing, you would not have had all these experiences, isn't it?
Well, that's true. And I think if I hadn't have been started going out on my own, I probably never would have taken up that offer to go and visit this restaurant place.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have done it. And but I did. I'm glad I did. Just the warmth of people is amazing. It just, and things like that happen here in Australia too, although you can speak the language. People just are friendly and helpful. And particularly like if I'm pulled up my van and I've pulled the awning out and trying to tap in tent pegs, a bloke will turn up and start smashing in the tent pegs for me. You know, it makes them feel good. They've done something.
Exactly. And that goes to show that, you know, people do help. You know, there is a very bad vibes out there where it's, you know, when you're solo traveling and you're on your own, people say, don't ask for help because you can take advantage of, or, you know, you can get yourself into trouble. But I think if you, you know, like yourself, you said that so many people put their hands up to do amazing things and help out, and they do it because they're good people, and the world is full of them. We just need to know how to find those ones.
I think it comes back to the energy you put out.
Exactly.
That's the sort of energy you attract. If you expect negativity, you will attract negativity.
Exactly. Well said.
But at the same time, it's just a matter of being sensible. You don't go following somebody off up dark alleys in the, you know, when it's dark. You just be sensible, be in public. And yes, there are things that go on. There are problems, but it's about being aware of them. And, you know, I can blissfully walk through a market and not realise that someone's following me or following me.
I noticed that in India.
And it's how you, where you carry your possessions, and just having your cards and different information in at least 3 different spots, so you're not all carrying it all with you. It's not all in your luggage. Just being smart like that. Having backup plans, knowing who your contacts are if things go wrong. The other thing I find important is proper insurance. And I don't rely on credit card insurance. I actually take out annual insurance. For international.
Yes.
I've only ever had to call on the insurance once, and that was when I got altitude sickness in Peru. Couple of visits to hospital. Word of advice: if you go to hospital in Peru, take your own toilet paper.
Okay,
Yeah,
something for everyone to remember. If you go to Peru, take your own toilet paper.
especially to the hospitals. That was mind blowing. That no toilet paper in the hospital. But it was yeah, and so I had quite a lot of expenses involved with hospitals, with medication, with additional accommodation, transport, and all that sort of thing. Got home, lodged my claim, and within a week it was all settled. So
Yeah,
no
excellent.
problems at all.
That is very important, that we all travel with insurance, not credit card insurance and actual insurance that we take out, because it's all...
And insurance that covers what you're doing.
Yes.
A lot of people don't cover themselves for motorbike rides and then go and hire a motorbike, and they're not covered, sort of thing. So it's just doing your research.
Yes.
With your... and always have a backup for accommodation when you've gone somewhere. I often tend to pre-book through bookings.com. That, because you can read the reviews and double check what it's like.
Yeah,
I try and do that. And read reviews, read TripAdvisor, listen to what other people are doing.
Yeah, it's very important to do your research before you book anything, that's for sure. And I'm a big believer in you take advice from everybody and then use your own common sense and intuition before you make a decision. And that always pays off.
I think that's true. I remember many years ago when I had my first baby, someone very wisely said to me, you listen to what everyone says and you say thank you for your advice, and then you go and do what is right for you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my mantra now. When I am doing bookings for people, I say, here's all the advice, but you put your intuition in it, because you know what you know. I don't know what you know.
Yeah. So, and it's about respecting what other people say.
Yes,
and sift through the information and decide whether it's for you or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. So lastly, before we finish our conversation, what would be one advice you would give to another woman who is thinking of starting a solo travel adventure and take on the world? What would be that one advice?
Research.
Yeah.
Definitely research and know your own abilities of how well you travel, what sort of travel you prefer, how do you cope flying long distances, for example.
Yes.
Because being very tired on arrival at a place can make you vulnerable. So you've got to think about those sort of things, know your limits, take a medical kit with you. Yes. So that you've got basic medications for just your vomiting, diarrhea, basic antibiotics, things like that. To research where you're going, so you know some of the wonderful places, not just the tourist places, but all of the out of the way places, and the best way to get them. Check out all the forms of transport where you are going. Yeah. Because some are better than others, and weigh up. For me, safety is important. Yes. Then comfort. Yes. And being on a boat. When I went to Sri Lanka with a friend a couple of years ago, we pre-booked our accommodation. Our cheapest was $10 a night for two. Yeah. Our most expensive was $98 for 2 nights for two. Yeah. The $10 a night one was absolutely wonderful. It was almost like a bed and breakfast type thing. It was just amazing. So, but we'd checked all the reviews of everything. Exactly. And if all the reviews are wonderful, be wary. Yes. Because they can doctor reviews. But so you want a balanced review.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because people can buy reviews. That's what Jo is trying to say. And that's a very good advice. I really agree with what she's just said. It is super important to make sure that your reviews that you're actually reading, there are a fair amount of positive and negative reviews, because not everybody enjoys the same experience in the same way. We humans don't have the same needs. So that's where what she's saying is the balanced review is extremely important. Jo, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story with us. You are a total inspiration for me. I have known you for 4 years, and in that time I have just been in awe of everything you've done. So I look forward to seeing a lot more adventures coming from your future plans for this year, of course, and hear a lot more of your stories.
We'll do. Well, this year I'm hoping more home travel.
Yes.
Because one of the things you have to be careful of is your budget. Yes. And I kind of overspent the budget last year with some of the trips I went on. So now it'll be more, and probably a good time with the coronavirus around.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that would be another thing, be up to date with all your immunisations.
Yes, yeah, very good advice. Now, Jo and I are from Australia, so a lot of places she has mentioned in her story today, there are little places in Australia that she goes camping around Australia. So if you are interested in more information on places to camp in Australia, click on the link underneath with this video, and I will have a map for you to learn more about Australia. So thank you so much, Jo, and we will look forward to seeing you with more stories in future. Thank you.
Thank you.